Nothing changes instantaneously. In a gradually heating bathtub, you'd be boiled to death before you knew it. Our Father, who art in heaven. Seriously? What the actual fuck?
Gilead doesn't care about children. Gilead cares about power.
Why does healing have to be the only goal? Why can't we be as furious as we feel?
For whatever man sows, so shall he reap.
Welcome to Above the Garage.
Hi, friends. Today we are so excited to have the most omniscient person in all of The Handmaid's Tale, not to mention Emmy Award winner, editor Wendy Hallam Martin, here to chat with us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I don't want this to get weird right off the bat, but I was walking my dog earlier, and I realized that if we were forced to kidnap one person from the cast and crew of The Handmaid's Tale, that it would have to be you, because you have access to everything we've ever wanted.
Yes, I've seen it all.
All the cutscenes, I just were very jealous.
Yeah, it's a good job to have, I have to say.
It'd be so fun.
I was stalking your Instagram yesterday and I fell in love with your dog. Was it a girl? Is it a girl or a boy?
He's a boy. His name's Cole.
I love him. How old is Cole?
He's almost 13.
He's beautiful.
Yeah, he's my heart. I just love that little guy.
Yeah, I thought he was a older doggy because I have an older doggy as well. And they just like, every time I see an older dog, they're just like my heart.
Melt.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Does he still go kayaking with you?
He does. Well, actually not this last summer because his eyesight's going a little bit and he starts to panic a little bit when we get close to the dock. So he jumps out and I don't want to risk that. So
yeah. Oh.
But yeah, you still, sneak him in the cutting room once in a while and
I love that.
Yeah. Listens to June scream.
Mom's got a real weird job. In any job where you can sneak your dog in, you did good. Good life you built. I got my dog on a paddleboard for the first time this summer. I mean, I tried for the first time.
Cool.
I feel like the second time is what is gonna actually tell me whether she's gonna be willing. I think she's probably smart enough now that she's not gonna step back on that board. But it was fun while it lasted, and we'll see.
Aw, that's great.
What show are you working on now?
I'm working on a limited series called Fellow Travelers. It's for Showtime.
What's it like editing a beautiful face like Matt Bomber?
And he's such a great actor. I had no idea.
Yeah, I saw him in something recently for the first time and I was like, who are you?
Yeah, right? He should be a superstar. I mean, that's the caliber.
I think so too.
So,
to be fair, Kimberly falls in love with literally every single male character that steps on the screen. But that is no offense to this man. I'm sure he's very, very dreamy.
You should look at him. He's almost as good as Wendy. I'm sure you remember Commander Elijah Vance in episode 10.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Brendan Morgan, for the record.
Yes.
He has a real name.
Yes.
Yeah. No, Matt Bomber with Rob Lowe and who would just say John Hamm had a baby.
Yeah.
Ooh,
actually, that's a very good.
That's interesting. I'll be looking into that later.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd get really good at that, like being able to say it's this person and this person meshed together just from looking at their faces all day editing.
Exactly. You study every feature. So
right.
Is it hard for you to watch regular TV? Like, I feel like you just be judging the scenes, the editing.
I mean, it's hard to watch TV in general because that's what I do all day. I'd rather come home. Listen to music or read a book or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm very picky about what I do watch. A lot of the time it's fluff. Like I'll watch, I know Lizzie loves The Housewives. I happen to love them too.
Me too. Yeah.
Great decompression, like you don't have to think about anything. So other than that, I love Ozark. I love, White Lotus.
So good.
Euphoria. Like I love all those kinds of shows too. So
same. That's exactly the shows I'm into.
Violet is our editor, so she's nervous that she's gonna have to edit an editor on this episode.
Yeah, that was my first thought when you came on. I was like, oh no, it's like the pressure is on. Like really do my best.
Stop. You just do your thing.
Yeah, your job is super fascinating to me though. Like I think if I was gonna go into the film business, I would go editing. I think that's my main interest right now. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Never too late.
Yeah.
When did you realize, Wendy, that you wanted to be an editor?
I went to film school and everybody had me edit their films only because I did my own and I was not bad at it, and they didn't want to do it. And I didn't want to go and pull cables on their film shoots. So I was like, I'll edit your films. And
A little bartering.
Yeah. And then when we had a placement program in the final year, and I asked to be placed at a post-production house, and landed at Sunrise Films, which Deepa Mehta is a filmmaker, and her husband at the time, Paul Saltzman, they owned a company. And I assisted Stephen Lawrence, who is my mentor and taught me everything I know. And he kicked me out of the nest and said, "You're ready to edit." But I was happy to be an assistant. Like I really wasn't, I didn't have a lot of confidence early on. And when he kicked me out, I was like, oh, I can actually, okay.
That's actually a really cool story. I feel like you don't hear that a lot.
Where did you go to film school?
A place called Sheridan College in Oakville. It's actually really well known for its animation. They have I'm not sure what it's called now. It was years ago, but they called it a media arts program. So you could do photography, film, everything. And I didn't want to go to like a full-on university where you just learn theory, because I thought I can read and do that on my own. I wanted to be hands-on and make films. And, music videos were huge at the time. So I just took the camera out every time I had and shot my boyfriend's music videos.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
And then edited them. And they ended up on Much Music. And
Nice.
yeah, it was fun.
That feels like a great way to start, because editing to music, like that's something that I mean, we all noticed that specifically with this show and with every show, that there's music cues and editing to a music cue. I think that's one of the things you notice the most when you're watching.
It's a dangerous thing to edit to music in drama.
Yeah, right.
It's better if you cut the scene and then you lay in a piece of music. And, we use Adam's score as our temp usually, like from previous shows. And when it falls and hits the moments, it's like, okay, rhythmically, the scene is cut properly. Like it is a musical piece.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I read an interview with Bradley. He was talking about directing episode 9. He was talking about the final song and how hard it was to place with that final scene where the shots. I don't know if he had anything to do with that, or was that all Bradley?
Yeah, Bradley came with that song. Some of us were not a fan, but it wound up in the show, and good for him. I didn't edit his episode. Aaron Marshall did edit.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So I didn't have any say in that. But music is often a battle.
Yeah.
Well, in a good way, because we're all so passionate about music and we all have our own tastes. And Bruce is the boss, and he rules everybody. Lizzie is the master of persuasion. She'll sort of, say what she thinks, and then, but ultimately Bruce gets the say, and he's got great taste. He does some really fun, quirky, picks.
Oh yeah, definitely memorable.
Yeah,
but it works.
Completely.
Does actually, when you said that, it reminds us. So we saw the screeners before the final version, and a lot of the music changed.
Yes.
I mean, even we would check it like a few days before or a week before, and then it would change from then. And maybe they just didn't update the screeners, but who's doing that? You're on a show. You're not doing that, right? So who's handling these last minute decisions and changes?
That's me.
Really?
I've spent days playing DJ for people, like literally laying up songs against the scene.
Oh my God.
That sounds so cool.
Bruce. Yeah, it
sounds exhausting though. That's so much work. Like late in the game when you're on another show, also doing that. That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the final song. Oh no, you know what it was? It was on episode. Are we okay with spoilers?
Yes. Yeah, it's shown. Everything's good.
Yeah. Okay. So when
season 6 spoilers are welcome. Yeah.
When June gets hit by that truck.
Yes.
Kokomo.
Yes. And, the artist felt that it wasn't appropriate for his material to be on the show, and that's fine. So we had Brittany, our music soup, like digging up songs. We were all digging up songs. Lizzie was digging up songs. Bruce was digging up songs. And so, yeah, we were laying up like hundreds of songs. Not hundreds. I mean, we narrow it down, but.
Right, but still, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I think Lizzie picked the Beach Boys, and it was perfect.
Yep.
But in those episodes, right, that was the raid. They changed the raid music, and I loved the raid music. It was just an Adam Taylor comp, I think, and I like really loved it. And then they changed it.
No, but what happens is sometimes Adam, we do new things on the show that Adam doesn't have cues for. Yeah. So like the whole train sequence, Lizzie from the beginning had a Max Richter song in her head that I laid up when I assembled the scene. And so we just fell in love with it. And so what we do is we do a music spotting, and when Lizzie directs, she comes on the spots with us. And we call it watching TV with Adam, because he hasn't seen the episode, like on purpose. We tell him not so that he can react.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah.
So we sit there and he leaves his camera on. We all turn ours off and we just watch him react.
No pressure, Adam.
Yeah, no pressure. But it's great. So sometimes we say, sorry, Adam, we couldn't find it. Max Richter has become a verb. You've been Richtered.
Yeah.
So anyway, we always have a good laugh about that.
That's kind of amazing. So like the back and forth between what your work is and then the sound editing, because there's sound editing as well, right? That go in and do very like detailed work.
Huge amount.
Yeah. So it kind of ping pongs back and forth between you and them. Is that how it works?
Well, I do. Our assistants, the first assistant, Shelley and Maxime and Christoph, they are incredible. And Shelley especially does incredible soundscapes. Like sound is really another character on The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, it was so amazing this season too, especially.
Yeah. So we give them a guide. We call it a guide track of what we want the sound to be. Like do you remember the scene where Esther's in the hospital and she's thrashing away in, And in my edit, I thought, it was so important to Eva, this story about her as a survivor. And I thought, okay, well, let her say what she says. And then she just loses it. She screams, but yet at the end of the day, she's still voiceless. So I thought, let's pull her screams out at the end of it. And you just hear her thrashing.
I love that.
So that lived, and Eva really liked that. And I did the same thing in episode 10 when June gets hit by that truck.
Yeah, we know.
Yes.
Everything disappeared except the Kokomo song. Yeah.
That's
and then even when she's
so
in the hospital, where it cuts out the sound and you just hear that like ringing tinnitus sound, that's great.
So they take it to a whole nother level. The guys, David McCallum does incredible sound, like dialogue editing. All the ADR, you'd never know what was replaced on the day. But Brennan doing sound effects. We've got Lou and Joe mixing, and a whole crew, Kristen and the whole gang. They're just absolute pure artists.
It was so noticeable. Yeah.
It's such a subtle soundtrack. So it's hard for people to notice, but I'm so glad you guys noticed. That's great.
I think we started pretty early on, even like the cigarette and the snow crunching, I don't know, everything just sounded amazing. I just wanted to go back to the music for one last thing. The Billie Eilish song was so good. Who picked the Billie Eilish song?
Well, our exec producer, Sheila Hawken, brought the idea of Billie Eilish, and she had an idea of one song. We laid that up, and then Lizzie went, oh, well, why don't we use Bury a Friend? Because like
it's so perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we laid that up, and that was it. And the network loved it. And so that one was not hard at all to pick.
No.
I think that song was definitely, I think, my top favorites ever.
Oh, good.
It was perfect. The lyrics, the atmosphere of it. It was just, it was great.
Agree.
Yeah, cool.
What software do you use to edit?
Avid Media Composer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, Wendy, how did you get the Handmaid's job? Was it Did you have to? It's weird because I usually ask, did you have to audition? But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did have to audition sort of over the phone, but basically I had worked for Take Five, which is this great company in Toronto. And I had done Queer as Folk with them. I had done the Tudors with them. I had done Borgias with them. And I was off doing something else. And I got a call from Sheila Hawkins saying, we've got The Handmaid's Tale. It's coming to town. Are you interested? And I was like, fuck yeah. Of course. She said, okay, we'll set up an interview with Bruce because he's a big fan of yours. He likes the Tudors.
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool. So Bruce, she said it'll be a really quick call because Bruce doesn't have a lot of time. So Bruce and I get on the phone and we literally spent half an hour chatting. I mean, he asked me what I thought the show should be cut like and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, he said, okay, see you in Toronto. Bye. And I just went, and I had to call Sheila and I was like, I think it went well. I think I got the job. Like, I had no idea. And she goes, hold on. And I'm typing away. And then she goes, yep, you got the job. He loved you.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Did he, since he liked the Tudors, did he like ask you about that? Was he like fanboying?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, that was sort of just, I think, his way of just sort of connecting with me and saying he liked the show. I'm not sure if he was like, you know, a fanboy of the show, but he did like the style and the way it was cut together, I guess. So,
well, he must have.
I meant to ask him what other shows he liked and I forgot. Or we weren't busy talking.
Yeah, he's great.
Okay, I had one last question, music question. So also in the screeners, in the Serena giving birth episode, they used the music from Nick and June meeting up in 409. And it might have made us a little sad for a minute.
I don't think Wendy did that one either.
But maybe she knows. Oh, you don't know. But they changed it in the end, and I was wondering the conversation, the reason.
Yeah, I can clarify that. Adam never wants to do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like Lizzie and I stole the music from the 313 when the kids arrive.
Yeah, Angels Fly.
Yeah.
Oh, make me cry again.
Yeah, we used it at the end of 403 after Janine and Brianna, or not Janine and Brianna. Elma and Brianna.
Yeah. No.
I know. And then they do the flashback to when they were holding hands and all that. So I stole that cue from Adam and I put it there, and Lizzie and I would sit in the cutting room and bawl our eyes out.
Oh.
When we were in Music Spot, he was like, Adam, you can't change this. We love this. We want to do it. And he's like, well, okay, I'll just change it a little bit. So he always likes to put his mark on it, which you got to give him credit. Oh my God.
Every season. And then every season he elevates it. And it's like unbelievable to me. He's so talented.
Yeah, he really is.
I have a very nerdy random question to ask you. So I know like most of editing now is done digitally. Have you ever done film splicing, like manual? As
an assistant, yes.
Okay.
That's when I started. It was just phasing out. So we did that in school. We shot everything on 16 mil. I would use a splicer and edit the films in school on a flatbed. And then when I worked for Steve Lawrence, he worked on a moviola. And I don't know if you know much about editing, but they would take the film strips and with a white grease pencil, mark where they wanted the cuts to go and then hand it to the assistant. And the assistant would
make the cuts.
Physically cut it, put it together. Yeah. And you know what? I'm forever thankful that I did have a chance to work on film because I feel like I'm a way more decisive editor because of that.
Yeah, interesting.
When you film, you don't want to put 20 splices in it because you can't run it through the machine and it looks crappy, right? So I think it was the best training for me. I mean, everybody says, that I'm fast. I'm like, well, maybe I'm not fast. I'm just decisive. I just go with my gut and this is how it's going to be. And, 9 times out of 10, it stays that way. So
yeah, that's awesome. So I went to NCSA. I don't know if you know the school in Winston-Salem. It's a film school.
No.
Cool. 20 years ago. And they were just at the tail end of teaching splicing when I was there. So it was kind of like a novelty at that point, and it wasn't something that they really pushed for us to learn, but it was really fascinating to me. So I just thought I would ask.
Yeah, no, it's nostalgic. I do.
Yeah, exactly.
It was much more physical. You were standing, you were rewinding,
Right.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, me and my husband kind of like nerd out and like look for theaters that still show movies in film, and we'll like travel to go watch them and stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
Cool.
One of my questions was, besides the episode you won an Emmy for, which is amazing, by the way, congratulations.
Thank
Oh my God,
Um,
congratulations. That's a really big deal. So
Thanks.
I wondered, what was your favorite episodes beside that one that you've ever edited?
I mean, I have love affairs with each episode as I'm doing them, and then I sort of put them to bed and I just sort of forget it. I don't forget about them, but you know what I mean? It's like I love the challenge of a new episode, and I've been so lucky to work with incredible directors and be able to cut some of the most spectacular footage. I mean, I feel very spoiled going forward working with anybody else, and I've told that to Lizzie, and she said that don't worry, we'll work together and it won't be a problem. So that's good. But no, I think, I mean, I have a soft spot for the finale I just did. I really liked 403. I really loved episode 3 that I did with Reed Morano, where Emily wakes up in the hospital and finds out. Yeah, that episode just killed me.
Yeah, I can't imagine having to edit that episode. I'd just be like on the floor crying.
Yeah, I mean, it was Alexis's first time crying on camera and ever. And so when she's standing there and going through the grief process of what just happened to her, I mean, I had to cut around Reed walking in and whispering in her ear, okay, now you're really pissed off, or now you're this, or now you're that. So that she would go through all those things and then finally get to crying and then the scream at the end. So it was like, how the hell am I going to do this? I don't want to cut wide and then go back in, cut wide. So I was like, okay, we're going to jump cut this.
The jump cuts are amazing in that scene.
They're kind of wild, aren't they? And I never thought Handmaids would
It's
be
perfect. Yeah.
jump cuts. But then it kind of became a signature in a way where we only use them like after Emily stabbed Lydia and threw her over the balcony, like, and went into her bedroom. I did the same thing. It was a bunch of jump cuts. So it was like only in very certain moments we used them. Yeah. So sorry, long-winded way of saying each episode I enjoy for so many different reasons. You know,
403 is one of my all-time favorites, probably a lot of the groups. The bridge scene was amazing. It looked so much like a wedding. I realized it did not represent a wedding now that we're 2 seasons further, but it was just like such a beautiful, like long walk, all of that. I loved it. You edited it beautifully.
I love that too.
Talking about what Kimberly was just asking you, I kind of wondered, are there any moments, I mean, maybe the jump cuts are one of them, but moments where, you know, you just like really felt like something really clicked like perfectly on a specific edit, or something that you tried out and then it was just something that you're like really proud of having done, I guess, on a scene?
I mean, when I started Handmaids, I took over the pilot from Julian Clark, who had to leave. And I sat in that chair and I was like, I have no idea how to edit this series. Like, this is unlike anything I've ever done before. I felt like, why am I sitting here? This just feels so out of my comfort zone, so out of my league. And then when I finally figured out the language, which a lot of directors talk about too, trying to find that language, there's no over the shoulders, there's no pre-lap dialogue, or very rarely, you know, like you don't cut it like a regular TV show, right? So I think when I did do episode 3 and I cut a scene where June comes up to see Janine in her bedroom and Janine's all excited, and, you know, if you get pregnant, you get ice cream.
Ice cream, yeah.
I love my commander, and, you know, and June's like, yeah, I don't think he loves you. You know, that was so tricky to cut, but once I got it together, I felt really proud of it. And Reed came in and she watched it and we tried to make a few changes. And then she was like, no, put it back. So I was really happy that I just went with my gut, trusted that I could do it. And then I feel like after that, I was okay for the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was thinking, because I was listening to another interview you did and you talked about you know, like challenging scenes that you've done. And I was wondering, what do you think the most challenging scene you did on season 5 for you was?
Oh, definitely the funeral and ballet.
Mm,
It
Yeah.
took me 6 days to cut that
wow.
sequence.
Yeah.
Such an amazing sequence, though. So good.
I don't know how you did it in 6 days. That was insane.
Yeah.
For so many shots.
It was a lot of late nights.
Yeah.
Because the problem was I had to create the whole ballet choreography. So I had to cut the entire ballet. And then I cut the entire funeral and then intercut
Mix
it.
them together. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different genre, like cutting a ballet in the middle of dinner sale. I don't know. That seems
Well, I think you nailed it earlier when you said that editors need to be musical. And, you know, I have a love of music, and obviously I think I have a sense of rhythm or whatever it is. It's hard to put your finger on, but so to cut a ballet, I mean, the choreography was beautiful, and Lizzie did such a great job directing the whole thing. And
Justin Peck, right? I think did the choreography.
yes.
Yeah.
And Nick shot it, and of course it's beautiful. So
Right.
it was just it was a lot of work just to get the right, because they did several takes, and just to get the most beautiful and most elegant moments. And
When I watched it, I assumed it was just a ballet that you guys had borrowed from elsewhere. And the moment that I realized, no, that is not at all the case.
no,
It's just like, wow,
yeah,
all you guys. Amazing.
Yeah, that's a whole different art form that you had to go into for that. Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, I get it all together, and it's like 5 and almost 6 minutes long. And then Bruce says, "Yeah, we have to make it shorter." I'm like, it's like, how the hell am I going to cut Tchaikovsky down? Like, the piece of music itself is so intricate. Anyway, we got there, but it took a lot of work.
Well, and this is about to reveal my like next level of nerdiness, but I've like played around with that scene and like spliced together just for fun the parts that, you know, are the same sequence. So like all the Gilead parts. And it's really interesting that you're saying that you edited them individually, because it works. Like if you take out the other pieces, it still works as a scene, which is so interesting to me. So yeah. So you just said that, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now. Okay. Yeah.
So cool you did that. I'm not sure the ballet would cut together like seamlessly, but
yeah, I haven't done that. But yeah.
Very cool.
Was that your favorite scene on season 5, or do you have another one?
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I asked the tough questions.
Yeah, you sure did. I have a lot of favorite scenes, but that's one of my favorites for sure. I also love the end of episode, is it 5 or 6? The end of 6, when Serena's holding the gun and they're having
6.
Right? June are back and forth, and then she shoots poor Ezra.
That's such a good scene.
I love that reveal of Serena when like she's coming behind the bus and you just see her and June's like, oh my fucking God, not again.
Well, and that's kind of you too, right? Like you get to create those moments because you choose when to reveal it. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was all choreographed. I didn't have too much to do.
Right.
You know, I did play it in one shot, so the bus moves and Serena's there. That was Lizzie and Nick planning that. But yeah, you're right. Editing's all about timing and when you show what, you know, like how long are you going to hang on the girls and, you know, staring at each other before she turns and shoots Ezra, you know. And the same thing on the train. It was like Lizzie and I went back and forth a bunch of times. We had way more footage of June walking down that, I don't know what you call it, the train car, yeah. Yeah, she had cutaways of, you know, refugees and all that sort of thing. And we thought, oh, if you're here too long, you're going to know something is about to happen. Yeah. So we cut it down by half. And she just walks through the first car. She picks up the baby and then says her dialogue about going to Hawaii, blah, blah, blah. And then the baby. And we hope that that's at the point where you guys catch on. Because you want the audience a little bit ahead of June.
Right, like a second before the reveal. You kind of go like, what? Okay. And
they're
then,
like, no.
That's perfect. Yeah. That's how it felt.
That's interesting that you want that. I like that, to know that.
Was that baby the cutest baby ever to like edit? Yes. Oh my God, we're in love with that baby.
And that baby's so in love with Lizzie too. Like,
yeah, they seem like it.
I know. Oh my God.
That bathtub scene where she grabs her to pull her out of the tub and the baby just literally cuddles right into her. Like that was all natural.
Yeah. how do you get a baby to do that to a somewhat stranger? That is amazing.
Yeah.
And she fell asleep.
Spend a lot of time together and trust each other, I guess.
Yeah.
What an amazing piece of trivia for that child later in life too, and to be like,
Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss sang me to sleep when I was a baby.
Exactly. Oh, another good scene was the testimony, like the courtroom scene,
Yes.
where there is no editing. That oneer.
Oh wow, yeah.
Lizzie shot all this coverage, and I assembled my episode with just the oneer because I thought, oh, that's so Handmaid's. Like, let's not interrupt her. Let her have her speech, you know. And then I chickened out at the last minute. I was like, well, Lizzie shot all this coverage. I better put that version in. So I put that in my editor's assembly and sent it to Lizzie, and she got on the phone. She's like, you know the courtroom scene? And I said, yeah. I want to play it in the oneer, right? And she goes, can I see it? And I said, sure. So I played it for her. We're both bawling at the end, and she's like, yep, that's the one.
Definitely.
We were all crying as well.
That's the one. That's cool though that you're on the same page. That's awesome.
That's cool that you get to be involved in making that decision too about, like, you know, and I was wondering that too about there's like a 2.5 minute shot in the Putnam house in episode 2 of season 5.
502.
Yeah. And then there's also the poisoning scene between Janine and Esther with that long single shot. So yeah.
Oh yeah. You Nick said you crossed the line.
Yes.
That was new.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like the opposite spectrum, right? From the funeral is choosing the take that you can go beginning to end through. Yeah. And that's perfect all the way through.
Yeah. No, that never happens usually. But yeah, no,
it seems like it to us though.
Yeah, no, in the case of the oneers, I mean, they do several takes until they get it right, or you know, and then I don't look at the paperwork. I just pick the one I think is the best, and then I'll look at the paperwork after and just say, no, you're wrong. I like this take.
That's smart though. You're good at this. You just get it innately.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, you're very good at it.
Well, thanks. It's challenging. I mean, it's like a giant jigsaw puzzle. You know, they shoot out of order, scenes are out of order.
Oh my gosh,
shots are out of order. They just put it all in a bag, shake it, and go. Okay,
throw it at you.
Put it together. Hours and hours of footage to look at. So, but
I was wondering, was there ever a moment, like we were discussing earlier, with like the screeners and the changes that we saw, like to the actual episode that was aired on Hulu? How do you say Hulu?
Hulu.
You said it right all of those times, except maybe one. One sounded weird.
Tried too hard.
We don't have Hulu over here in Australia, so I was wondering how you say it. Was there ever a moment where it was like literally last minute to like when it was airing on the TV? How close to call have you gone?
No, I don't think we let it go that far. I mean, people are pretty good about hitting deadlines. Usually the last thing to pop in are the visual effects. You know, the final visual effects.
There were some notes on our screeners for that.
Yeah.
A couple little things that weren't finished. Yeah,
exactly. So those are the last minute. I mean, even when we're in the mixing theater, we just screened the finale a couple weeks ago before it went. It was tight to air, but
we made a big mistake on our podcast episode for the 507 because we couldn't figure out why June swerved the car. Because they didn't have the muzzle effects yet.
Right.
Maybe like the windshield cracked. Maybe it was a rock. Should have figured out it was a gun. I do think that we mentioned it, but it got cut. Anyway, it's interesting to see it before it's finished. I like that. It's really interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, for sure. And all the sound and the music that comes on after the fact.
Yeah. Learned a lot this year.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you
very much. Yeah. Honestly, the fact that any of you listen is awesome.
No, we all listen and we all appreciate your interest. Like, it's like, why do they care? But it's so cool.
We're very dorky, but we do.
No,
thank you.
Honored.
When you edit, do you have to go to Toronto or can you just edit it from?
Yeah, I mean, I actually live in Toronto.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
I've cut other places. I've cut in LA and whatever, but I'm home based in Toronto for now.
Do you get to spend time on set then when they're actually filming?
I avoid set if I can help it.
Okay.
I don't think she has time either.
That's right. That's true.
I don't really have time, but no, it was funny. I did a series with Andrew McCarthy. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
From Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was my director and he was in the room with me. And it was really kind of an out of body experience because he was like my childhood crush.
Yeah.
So one day I had to go on set and direct inserts for a day with him. And so that was very pleasurable to go to set that day.
Well, yes, I don't mind at all.
No, I didn't mind at all. But otherwise, it's a lot of standing around. And if you're not in a creative position, I find it excruciating to be there. Fun to watch, and it's fun to hang out for a couple hours. But yeah.
We did a little marathon watch. A lot of us met up in Toronto just to meet each other because we live all around the world. And we spent like 2 days watching them film in Newmarket because they just happened to be filming while we were there.
We'll call you next time.
Yeah.
Right. I remember reading that on on Insta, I think.
Yeah, it was cool. It's definitely like, wow, we're here for 2 days and it's, 2.5 minutes of footage or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you get it.
It's much less glamorous than you expect the life of an actor to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
True.
definitely.
But it comes out glamorous. It comes out very glamorous.
I'd much prefer your job of hanging with your dog while you edit.
While you edit? Yeah, that is
while you
literally
edit.
my dream.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you kind of make your own hours, and I can work from home
Yeah.
if I want. If I want to leave early and do the rest of the day from home, I can do that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm thrilled that I picked this career as opposed to
standing outside for 14 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they love it and they're great at it. And, I think they're incredible at what they do, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Should we grab everyone from the upside down well?
Yeah, we've never ever asked this many questions of someone before we invited
I'm
our
sorry
friends over,
about
so I'm really
that.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm like nerding out so bad.
We're just fascinated.
I'm sorry if I talk too much.
No, it's
no.
We could stay here all night. It's fine.
All right, here is Raquel.
Hi, Raquel.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer our questions today. You were just touching on it, but I'm very interested in the process of putting together a scene or a sequence of scenes and how much power you have in framing the story, because it's really an important job. Do you usually get the raw footage and then are given a vague idea of what the scene is meant to convey, or are you just given very specific notes from the script and the directors?
What we have is usually a marked script. So basically it's the script with all the shots. I should have brought that, with all the shots written on it. And we get that at the end of the day when we get the footage for the scenes. And we also get something called a continuity, which tells you every camera angle, what lens it was shot on, how long the take is, any comments from the director. All that paperwork goes with the footage that they shot the previous day. I was just saying earlier that I don't tend to look at that because I don't want to be influenced by that. I mean, of course, I'll look at the script and follow, the intention. If Bruce has written, Janine is feeling uncomfortable, I'll make sure that I weave that into her performance, although I don't have to weave anything with these people. They're just incredible. It all comes hand delivered. Yeah, so I will screen the footage top to bottom. I'll make my selects. I have a timeline. And I'll throw performances in there. Like if I like a particular part of a wide shot, I'll throw that in the timeline. And I'll just build off that. Every scene is different. Sometimes I start at the beginning. Sometimes I start at the end. Sometimes I start at the middle. And yeah, I just find the best performance from each take. And then really feel like you don't just go cut to one person speaking, cut to another person speaking. It's really balancing who has the power in the scene, who's the victim in the scene, who do you want to see when. You really have to go with your gut and cut it that way. So there's no rules. Every scene is completely different. So which makes the job great because you never get bored.
Yeah, sounds really, really interesting. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for asking.
Julia, are you there?
Yes.
Hi.
It's always like 4 a.m. for her. She's rock star. She's in Germany.
It's nearly 3, yeah.
Aww.
But Raquel is also in Europe, so we are like...
That's true, Raquel, sorry.
We're representing the Europeans today.
Yes.
Thanks for your interest.
No, thank you for the time, answering so many questions.
No problem.
So I was wondering if you have any specific techniques that you only or more often use for The Handmaid's Tale, maybe even compared to your other projects, to achieve a certain tone, or as you call the language of the show.
Yeah, definitely. I think, North American standard television is cut super fast. And it's like usually whoever's talking is on camera, then you cut to a reaction, then back to the person talking, and then they talk. So it's very cut. That's not what we do on The Handmaids at all. In fact, a lot of the time we'll stay with a person, whoever is, the person that's being affected by what's going on in the scene. So a lot of the time someone's talking and I never even cut to them. It's like, I don't care what that person's saying. I mean, I do care what they're saying, but I don't care to look at them. I want to see how it's affecting June, for example. So a normal TV show, it's not cut like that at all. And I know we hang on close-ups longer than average shows and we get criticized for it, but the whole point is, how does it affect the character? And, June doesn't need to say anything. It's all on her face.
And it's amazing.
And yeah, I mean, if that's not your thing, don't watch, but that's what we do.
Exactly.
That's what we say to those people as well.
Yeah, we see that as well. And we don't share that criticism. Because so much of the show is not nonverbal,
Yes.
And I think that's the best thing about the show.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I think people don't even realize that how much they're picking up from that. I don't think subconsciously how much you're getting from those moments of just seeing someone's reaction or seeing someone's subtle facial expression that changes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you got to really be into the show to pick that up. So many people watch TV with scroll on their phones and they're like, oh, still on her close up,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much. Great answer.
Thank you.
All right. Tina.
Hi.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So my question is about, I was wondering, how much footage do you get per episode? Because we went in Newmarket and we were there for 2 days for what ended up being 45 seconds of TV. So how much footage do you typically get per episode? And how much of that ends up, on the cutting room floor where we don't see it?
Gosh, I don't have the exact numbers, but I get a couple hours of dailies a day, usually because they're shooting 2 or 3 cameras, depending on the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot to mention earlier, some of that's storyboarded, which is kind of cool. So I have a guide as to what the director's thinking as far as order and size of shots. So sometimes I'll go by that. But I think for 12 days of shooting per episode, I think it ends up to be, I think it's more like a 40-to-1 ratio. I think someone figured it out one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of high speed through the slates and things like that.
Right. When you have that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a 1.5 to 1 and that feels hard. So
oh my gosh. We feel bad about that.
40 to 1. I can't imagine.
There's a lot of takes, sometimes, and a lot of setups, which is great. I mean, it just makes me look better. The more stuff I get to play with, and the crane shots and the drone shots and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So good.
Yeah.
Would you all have those on I guess do you go through them individually, each camera and each thing, or do you have them on the screen at the same time? Or?
Good question. On Avid, I can group clip the clips. However many cameras are going at the same time, the first assistant will line them up so that they're all in sync. And then on my big screen, I watch them all simultaneous.
That's
awesome.
So cool.
Yeah. And when I put it in my timeline, I just hit the arrow key and I can scroll through all the different cameras. So Lizzie says, well, what's this look like on the B camera? I'll just go bing. Oh, here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wow. That's cool.
That's so cool.
So this is so random, but the movie Moulin Rouge, there was a setting on the DVD where you could switch between different camera angles, just for fun.
Yeah.
And I used to just sit there for hours, just switching between all the different camera angles. So can you guys release that for Handmaids too? So we can play around.
Seems likely.
Cool. Yeah. That would defeat my purpose, kind of, but yeah.
We would really love it though.
Yeah, we would
really
love
love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Now Ginger is here.
Hi, Ginger.
Hi, Wendy. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My question, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but mine is regarding like deleted scenes. When you're putting together like a scene or the episode, do you like put together basically like a package to send to like Bruce or the director or Lizzie or whoever is involved? And who, who makes those final decisions? Is it kind of like a collaboration between everybody of what ends up being the final scene or episode that we see?
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, Bruce has the ultimate say. He's our showrunner. But the director, like I do my cut and I include everything in so that everybody can see all the scenes.
Mm.
And then I do what's called the director's cut. And then Lizzie will come in the room or Eva, we did remotely. And we'll go through the cut and we will decide line cuts or like if we're running really long. Or if the scene's not working, we'll cut it or we'll move a scene. So we track that with a tracker. The assistant does that for us. And then we deliver the director's cut with that piece of paper. And then all the producers will see it and then they get to do their cut. And I throw the deleted scenes on the end. It's rare that we ever have deleted scenes, to be honest. It's so rare. This season in episode 501, maybe? Yeah, I think 501, there was a whole scene where June goes to see her therapist and they talk on the bench and the therapist reveals she used to be in Gilead. And it was a great scene. Something had to go. And so that scene sat on the end of the episode for a long time. And it's funny because we had a few comments like, why doesn't June go see a therapist? Like, and we're all like, well, she kind of did. You just didn't see it. So anyway, so those deleted scenes go on the end. We take them off before it goes to Hulu and MGM. But they know which ones have been deleted because of that paper trail. So sometimes they ask to see it and go, why did you delete it? And sometimes they don't. So that's kind of how it works. But they're gone forever once it's logged.
No.
They still exist.
Sure, we can't get them.
We would love to see those.
Yeah, maybe like a DVD special feature, like after the whole show is done, like the box set and all the deleted scenes.
Yeah, you'd make so much money.
Yeah.
They could dig them up. I'm sure EDL exists somewhere with them on it. But honestly, there really isn't many.
Any good Nick and June cutscenes? Break our hearts.
No, we could air. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm Team Nick.
Yay!
That's lovely to hear. Welcome.
Sorry, OT, I love you, but June's a different person now.
Yes. Yes.
It's okay. OT is not Luke.
I
OT is
know.
OT. OT we love too.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Kind of piggybacking what Ginger just said about cut scenes. Some of us have had the opportunity to go to the Writers' Library in LA and actually read the scripts. And so we've noticed there are some instances where scenes they change from script to screen, or mostly that they change. It's not that the scene itself completely goes away, but we've noticed differences between the script and the screen. So I guess I'm really curious at what point in the process those decisions are made. I have a specific example. Going all the way back to season 1, this season 1, episode 3, the scene where Nick brings June the ice. In the script, they were supposed to kiss, but that did not play out that way in the episode. So our curiosity was piqued. Was this filmed and cut, or how did that happen?
Oh gosh, I wish I could remember for you. I think it was probably discussed on the day that they weren't going to kiss, that it would be kind of hotter if they had that tension between the two of them.
I agree.
They weren't wrong.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that they didn't kiss on the day and I didn't cut it. I think that decision, a lot of decisions are made on the floor. Lizzie is like incredibly in tune with her character, and she knows what June would do and what June wouldn't do. She will often say, no, I don't think we should do that. And then Bruce will agree or not agree, or say do two versions or whatever. But I think in that particular scene, they did not kiss. You're right.
So normally, would you say that if there's a drastic change between script to screen, it's usually those changes are made before it gets to your stage? It's usually happens while they're filming?
Usually what happens is they have a discussion beforehand and they'll issue a new script page for that. But something as simple as a screen direction, maybe they didn't for that. So when it gets to me, things that usually go are like a line or two, or, the end of a scene, or let's just start with them already in the room, or, top and tails kind of things, or internal cuts. Like the scene in the finale where, Janine's just told Naomi that they're not friends. And then Lydia talks to Janine and says, you have to fix this. There was a whole bunch of fantastic work by Ann Dowd, which is not unusual.
She's amazing.
Oh, she's the best. Of her pacing around and looking at Janine and then not being able to look at Janine and pacing around and tearful and all of this. And it was all wonderful, but we were way over length, and it was just like, okay, we got to get on with this. So we did a little bit of it, and then she launched into the scene. So yeah, there's definitely cuts that happen, like some major cuts sometimes. And sometimes we have to change the dialogue. Like when Tuello comes to say, hey, I can get you on a train. There was some confusion about, well, who are the refugees that are arriving? I had to recut the scene so that I cut off Tuello so that he could say the new line, which was, Americans are coming here. The government's sending them out west, to give some context, because it was a little confusing to the network. So
so do the actors have to like come back and do voice?
Every show,
ADR.
every time they do ADR.
They just go in like a sound booth, right? And do that, or
studio with David McCallum. I mean, David had a traveling ADR booth. He set it up for Lizzie so that because of COVID and all that, he was in a trailer and then had it in her house at one point, or wow. I don't know how it all worked out, but we have to do ADR all the time, just for general background noise, airplanes, trucks going by, lawn, leaf blowers, don't pay the people to turn them off, those kinds of things.
David actually talked to us on Twitter the other day, and he was mentioning how they did the I think it was like the arm crunch.
That's right.
In the finale, and it's crazy what they actually end up using to make the sounds. It's like fruit and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just
there's like probably 20 different sounds in there.
Yeah, I just like picture people like in the back, like pretending, hey, does this sound like this?
That's another whole area of like filmmaking that is so interesting to me. The Foley artists, like,
they're incredible.
So cool. Just like testing different sounds to make it sound like something else. Like it's fascinating.
Yeah, exactly.
While we're talking about the cutscenes, do you edit the trailers and the promos as well for the episodes that you do? Somebody else does that.
Yeah, you mean the previously ons?
No, the promotional little clips,
like the teaser,
the teasers. Yeah, exactly.
That's all Hulu.
Gotcha. Okay. It's interesting because sometimes there'll be shots in those that are not in the final cut.
A lot this year.
Yeah. So how are they getting that? Like, where are they getting that footage from if they're doing that, if they're cutting it?
It exists.
Right.
Mostly in an early cut. So we'll send them cutscenes from early versions. And
gotcha. So Hulu has an earlier screener that they're using to cut the promo with. Is basically why that happens. Got it. Okay.
They ask for promo material. I release scenes to our assistants, and they upload it for Hulu.
Okay.
They also get the dailies, so they can dive into stuff and not old stuff. But
can you throw us on that list? We'll take the dailies.
Yeah, we'll take the dailies. Yeah.
So in the I think in the first ever teaser trailer that we got, there is a scene, and I think it was 103 actually. So I know you didn't do that one, but maybe you won't know anyway, so I'm just blabbing on for no reason. But there was a scene in the trailer with Nick standing at the phone, and you see a woman, which I'm guessing is Rose, looking at him, and it looks like she doesn't have many clothes on. And we were all like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah,
we'll send it to you, Wendy. It's so strange.
Yeah,
she seems
we
clearly
like
like
what was going on there.
It's like her back clothless, and he's on like in front of her in the room that he's on the phone with, and it never happened, and we were like, huh.
Was there a phone call between him and June in 3?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it kind of looks like it was maybe after that scene, like he's wearing the same stuff and in the same kind of room. So we're wondering if maybe like Rose came in and like heard him talking to her or something.
Yeah, well, she is his wife, so maybe
she's like, what the heck?
It would have been Rose. And maybe that's why it got cut, because it was a little risque for Rose.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, okay.
Or we didn't want. I mean, if you see the arc of the season, you see that Nick and June are kind of like, they can't quit each other, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you set up too much of a romantic relationship between him and Rose,
true. Yes.
Right. Probably why it got cut.
We actually all thought that Nick's wife was going to be Genevieve Angelson because of the red hair.
Oh my god. Our theories during filming are like, we collected so much like information, and we
you guys have more information than I have. Jeez.
It's fun. It's our hobby. We don't share it, but we do try to collect
We're
it.
doing our own jigsaw puzzle with the pieces on our end too.
But we are not good at them.
Yeah.
This one you will know, actually, because I think it was supposed to be in 1, but there was a scene with Luke and Moira, I think, and they were outside and they were arguing about
She fucking, I forget, she fucking tore him apart or something, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. That was a Bruce decision to lose that. Or actually, maybe Lizzie did at first, and then Bruce saw it and said, yeah, okay, we just wanted to get on with it. It felt kind of like a double beat. Like they've already yelled, June, come back,
Yeah.
It was a time thing again. We were so long. The interesting little tidbit I can give you on that, or not that particular moment, but an edit that went crazy, was the end of episode 1 was supposed to be the burying of the gun in the snow.
What happened?
Well, Lizzie shot a oneer, and it's June coming out of the house, and she goes over to the drain to put the gun down the drain, then doesn't do it, then walks all the way back to her house, goes and gets a shovel, shovels the snow, puts the gun in.
I like that.
It took way too long. It was like,
but yeah, it sounds
3 minutes and change.
Time consuming.
Yeah. So we were all like, oh, we love the oneer, but it's just not the way to end an episode. So I might as well take credit for it. I came up with the idea of jump cutting it to open episode 2. And then Bruce is like, I really like the idea of ending on the baby with June, the baby moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And the bookends of the bathroom too. We talked about that on our podcast recording. That was really cool.
Exactly.
It's a great choice.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you did that. That was really perfect.
Yeah. And it sets up, her lying in bed with the spinny thing again.
Yes.
We used a darker version of the Dream song.
Yes.
So yeah, it worked out.
It did.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I had a question. So on episode length, why do they differ so much? Why can't you just run them longer? Is there like a total amount of time you're allowed to allot to the 10 episodes, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just don't
weird.
let them
It's kind of old school to have a specific time now, like because everybody streams them, It doesn't matter. You're not
of course. Yeah.
Hour mark for commercials.
Right.
But still, Hulu don't want the episodes sort of longer than the hour mark.
Can we take them up to the hour then next season every time?
Yeah, right. It's just, it costs more money, right? It costs more money to do all the sound, the mixing, the visual effects, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's an expensive show to produce. So I think I like them around the 60-minute mark for sure. I think the finale was 60.
Yeah, when we saw the timestamp of the finale, we were like, yay.
Yeah. Yeah. We get excited the moment we see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how different is it than editing for like a network where you're set to like, 43 minutes, 12 seconds or whatever? Like
Yeah.
they get that specific sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I haven't done a regular network show in a long time. But yeah, they still do that. They want it 43:12 or whatever. So
That's wild.
yeah.
As a fan of the show, Wendy, who's your favorite character? Is it June or someone else?
It's Janine.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She's one
I
of my
love
favorites
Janine.
too. Yes.
Yeah, I love her.
I'm so scared though. I'm so scared.
I know, I'm scared for her.
She'll be okay, I think.
She's definitely one of the podcast top 5, I think, Janine.
Yeah. Does editing Bradley, like, is he just constantly like fucking up takes by making people laugh? Not him, but just being so funny.
Please release a blooper reel of just Bradley.
Yeah, please.
He's the best. He just is so thoughtful in his acting approach, and just to watch his dailies, it's just such a joy because it's all going on constantly with him. You can see the wheels turning as Lawrence, like he's just, and he's so politically on point with women's issues. Like he's behind all of us, he's just,
we can agree on that too. This is wonderful. We love you.
Yes.
Come join us.
Yeah.
Do your job first.
He's such a pro, and he's the nicest guy. Like he's just so kind and sweet, and they all are. I'm sure someone said no asshole policy on Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
So
one more thing, Wendy, please. Can you edit around if they make Lawrence a really baddie next season? Because I can't deal with it.
Prepare yourself, Kimberly. It's not looking good.
I can't.
But he's done so much good in the past. Like I'm hopeful that he's going to help somehow. I mean, in his ridiculous way, he thinks he's helping by creating New Bethlehem. He's like trying to. When he mentions, or June mentions his wife, I mean, he completely crumbles. Yeah.
Right. But he always has. So we made a whole reel of it for Bradley's birthday. And I don't think he noticed it. So we'll have to re-release the softer side of Lawrence because it's lovely.
The softer side of Lawrence.
Yeah, the softer side.
I'm going to retweet it tomorrow. Okay, I'm so sorry, Scarlett. I'm so sorry. Scarlett's home from work.
Sorry, we're on
It's okay. Hi, Wendy. Nice to meet you. Thanks for waiting. I just got home from work.
Thanks for coming.
My question is, a lot of the scenes in this show are close-ups of the characters to show their point of views and emotions, and that is such a great part of the story. How difficult is it to edit, and how do you know which shots you're going to use?
Yeah. It is a point of view show, and that's exactly right. And that's what I always have to remember when I sit down to cut a scene. It's always through June's point of view. Like it's very rare that you'll be outside looking in on a scene in a more general way. So yeah, it's hard to cut scenes because you really have to ground it in that perspective. So being in June's head and then going to somebody else is often tricky, right? Because you're trying to make it her perspective. I guess, as I was saying a little bit earlier, you don't cut it traditionally. You cut it by hanging on certain people. Like I was saying that you hang on June's close up and you hear other people talking, but I don't ever want to cut to them necessarily. You know what I mean? Especially guards or, people in the room that are sort of not direct people that she's concerned about. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's definitely different. It took me a long time to figure this out of how this show should be cut together.
Yeah, I think it's very consistent. I mean, that's usually what you get when you see the show, and that's what you feel. That's why you can go like in this journey with her, which is very interesting.
Oh, good. Well, then that's great.
We don't mind the June stare.
Yeah, and
we like
those extra seconds really change everything. I mean, it gives you a chance to it's like you're reading the character's mind in those moments, and it's powerful that you are able to choose that because you're able to say like, I'm going to hold on this person's face, and it's going to make a world of difference in how you understand what they're thinking. So
a really good example of that is when June has an internal monologue, like a voiceover happening. Mm-hmm. Lizzie has it memorized in her head. And when she's on the set, like if she's doing her scene, you can see literally the words go across her eyes. Like it's incredible. Her face, every thought, even though she's not saying it. So then I
Right.
get her voiceover after her and I lay it in and it's just like
Perfect.
It perfectly matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. And Yvonne is incredible. I mean, Yvonne,
Yes.
just blown it out of the water.
Yes.
Just give them all the Emmys. Like they're just,
Yeah. All of them.
the cast is just the best.
Yeah. Talking about there's a scene in the finale where just after Janine kind of blows her shit at Naomi, I guess you could say, and you know, Naomi's like they're crying and you hear Lawrence in the other room going, Mrs. Putnam, Naomi, darling. Like I was wondering, did they ever shoot Bradley with that or did you just hear him in the background?
Yeah, no, that was intentional just to have him in the other room. The scene wasn't really about him, but it was a good vehicle to get Naomi out of the room, and it was scripted, so it was perfect.
When they have those off-screen moments where a character says something off-screen, is that always ADR or is it sometimes reported at the location in the moment for the atmosphere sound, probably, right, to match?
It's always recorded there if the actor's there.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool. That's good.
They're always mic'd. They always have 2 or 3 mics going on each character all the time.
So he's like in the next room with a mic, just shouting it the way that you hear it. That's really cool. That's cool to know. I've shot some just like really independent like movies or whatever, and we've never had that. Like we've never shot with like multiple mics before. So it's really cool.
Yeah, they wear what's called a
They're very fancy.
a lavalier, like a
oh yeah, right. Like
it's always on their clothing somewhere. And then we have
Gotcha.
boom microphones. So
cool.
One of the last questions that I had was about episode 10. Like Nick was saying about the horror elements that she wanted to put in episode 10. And there's a scene where June's just put on a bulletproof vest and she sits on the, what would you call it? A window, the window
seat.
Window seat. I love that so much. What do you call that in editing?
it's something I never do. I hate dissolves. But I saw that and I was like, oh shit, that's going to make a really nice dissolve. Let me try it.
Yeah.
I tried it and it lived.
Amazing.
It's so slow. I think that's what makes it so good is that it's just like so slight.
Yes.
But it just...
If it's planned, like if it visually works. I mean, so many people dissolve. Right. It's like, ugh, you go from a face to a wall and a car or something. I don't know. It's like, what?
Was that what you were talking about on Twitter? I remember you put a thing on Twitter saying about a dissolve.
Yeah, I just surprised myself. I was like, oh God, I actually did a dissolve? Like, yeah.
Was that planned when they were filming it to do it that way? I guess not, probably, because you just thought of it when you saw the two scenes next to each other.
I just like the idea of her being surrounded, and here she's sitting there with her bulletproof vest, and then having the little Gilead like ants around her, like which is
the ants, yes.
And that's what the story is. Like they're always around her. So I just thought thematically and visually it really worked.
Yeah, it's great.
It did. We'll keep you here for 24 hours.
Yeah, we literally could.
This is so wonderful, Wendy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, this was fantastic. I really appreciate your interest, guys, because editing, people don't know what it is. You know, they just think it magically goes together. So
yeah,
it's so important. I feel like you make the show what it is.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I get a lot of help, but thanks. Yeah.
Yes. And you were nominated this past year with the 21 nominations too, right?
Mm-hmm.
For season 4, I mean.
Yeah. And for season 3 as well.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
The one I'm most proud of is the Ace Eddie Award for the pilot. I mean, that's...
which is incredible.
The Ace Award is like the editor's award for...
that's amazing.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I was reading in an interview that you were so shocked that because you were up against, I think it was Game of Thrones you said you're up against, and you were just like,
wow.
What the heck? Yeah.
It was weird
That's
because
amazing.
We were sitting there and I'm a huge Radiohead fan. And so I was sitting there and one of my favorite Radiohead songs came on and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This might be an omen. Like, you know, we're sitting there and like best makeup, Game of Thrones, best costume, Game of Thrones, best, you know.
Yeah.
How it goes.
Yeah. And then they were like best editing. And I just turned to my husband and I went, Game of Thrones. And they went, Handmaid still. And I was just like, whoa.
Yay.
That's amazing. That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, seriously. I have to ask what the Radiohead song was though now, because I'm a big Radiohead fan too.
Oh, Gagging Order? It was on any.
I got it. Gotcha. The one time I skipped, we weren't like allowed to skip school in college. It was like kind of strict. It's like we had a strict policy for that because we only had classes like a couple times a week, and I had to fake a car problem so that I could go see Radiohead. So I was like, flat tire.
I'm going to see The Smile in a couple weeks. They're playing Toronto.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
That's the Johnny Greenwood and Tom York sort of.
Yeah.
Oh, band, I guess.
Awesome.
When do you get time for holidays, Wendy? Do you have a set time?
Honestly, I haven't had a holiday in, I can't even remember how long.
Man.
Really back to like doubled up on end of Handmaids, and then did a pilot for Amazon, and then now doing this limited series, and then Handmaids will start. I don't know when I'm going to get a holiday, to be honest.
We'll start a petition. You need one.
Yeah.
Aaron Marshall is the other editor, isn't he?
We had, so Chris Donaldson and I were the two lead for the first couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. And then our assistant, Anna Yavari, we said she was ready to cut. So they gave her an episode, and we've been mentoring her ever since. Chris left to go do Women Talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he also had a David Cronenberg feature, which is awesome. And so Aaron Marshall was our pitch hitter for when we needed relief, and he did a couple episodes over the few seasons, but he came on as a full-time editor this season.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Anna, myself, and Aaron. Yeah. So
we follow him on Instagram as well. I think he followed us back. So
he
seems very lovely.
Kimberly kind of stalks everybody. So hey, tell them no. It's just
that's my job.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
She's really good at it, honestly. And she will never tell anybody. I didn't know for like the first 8 months of knowing her, but she has another Instagram account with 500,000 followers.
Holy
dog account. Unbelievable.
I'm going to have to follow it. What is it?
Glorious Goldens.
Okay.
Yeah, she has golden retrievers. Don't get scared.
Oh,
this dog thing.
I grew up with Goldens. I'm a golden.
Charlie and Arnold.
Oh,
they're the best.
They are adorable. How old are they?
Charlie is 11, so she's just going into senior. Aww. She's turning into a grandma.
Aww.
And Arnold is 6, but he acts like he's about 6 months old. He's like,
That's great. I can't believe you have 2 Goldens with all that hair.
I'm sitting on the floor right now, and I was literally picking hair off my clothes like when we were talking.
I believe you. That's hilarious. Good for you.
Yeah, I just got a new vacuum though, and it's like one of those cordless ones. Like I always used to buy like, just like cheap vacuums, but I thought, we'll buy a good one.
It's worth it.
And this one is like, it's worth it. It's like, holy shit, like I didn't realize how much hair on the floor.
Have a whole dog in your vacuum cleaner, basically. Make a whole other dog.
Yeah, you have to empty it like 3 times. I'm like, where did this come from?
Good vacuums are very exciting when you're an adult, I have to say.
Yeah,
really
very weird.
All right, that's a good note. That's a boring note to end on that.
Thank you for staying with us, Wendy.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, no problem. This is fun.
Thank you. We love you.
So much.
Can't wait to see more of your work. We'll follow all your work now too, because we love you. So can't wait to see your limited series.
Yes, thank you for spending
Good
so much
night.
time with us.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Next season, if things don't go Nick and June's way, could you just edit them Nick and June's way? Cool?
Or send us an edit that's just for us. Send Nick and June edit.